Yo, 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 another guitar lesson here for you guys. Staying with the metronome. Gonna keep working with that metronome. If you guys have any suggestions about a specific exercise or there's specific rhythms you want to work on, just hit me up in the comments and I'll definitely go ahead and do my best to tackle that. But today we're gonna work on moving in between eighth notes and triplets. So you should be able to feel them each individually by now if you've been practicing, and check out some of my prior lessons if you need to take a look at that on triplets and eighth notes. So this is kind of this one might take, if you haven't done this, it takes a little bit of getting used to. Triplets, going back and forth between triplets and eighth notes is kind of it feels a little odd at times until you really get it down. So let's just start by practicing eighth notes at 60 beats per minute, and then we're going to move to triplets every other measure. So it's going to go eighth notes, then triplets, back and forth. So, and we're just going to play one note. We're going to play a G. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's eighth, triplets, eighth, triplet, triple. So that's what it feels like to go back and forth between those two rhythms. Now let's utilize that and sit with that as long as you need to. The one note, super important. Keep it simple. Make sure you can feel it. You might have to count in your mind 1 and 2 and triplet, that kind of thing. But over time, you just start to feel it, and there's nothing really going on upstairs, just a feeling, and you can lock in. That's the goal. So if we do that, so now we're going to do that with scale. So let's make it a little more musical here. We're just going to go up and down the G minor pentatonic scale, and I only use this because I know most of you probably know this scale, and it's simple. And anytime you're trying to learn something new to add on to what you already know, keep everything else as simple as you can. That way you can give your full focus to this new skill you're developing. Okay? So, again, we're just switching back and forth. Every measure, eighth, then triplets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, rock and roll. So you don't end up landing on the 1 of the scale nice and neat like you would normally if you were practicing scales with different rhythmic value. But that's a good exercise in its own right, because typically if we're practicing, sometimes we like to hear the first beat of the measure hit that root note of the scale. It doesn't always happen when we're practicing like this. Practicing triplets and eighth notes back and forth, just doing the math, it doesn't play out necessarily depending on how many notes are in the scale you're playing. So be mindful of that. That can be kind of tricky. Otherwise, just see if you can lock in with me. And we're going to do now. So now the next level would be to just play that scale across the fretboard and play. Well, actually, I could just keep it in this scale if you want to, but I'll move around a little bit, and just still alternate between eighth notes and triplets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can still play with me on those if you enjoy playing along with me in these. I encourage you to do that, even though you're not going to be able to play the same notes I am. You are going to be harmonizing with me, and I do this with my students when I have one-on-one lessons. We just play together and we improvise together, and it always creates a kind of a cool harmony, especially when we're locked in. If we're not locked in, then it just kind of sounds like kind of muddled and kind of confusing. But if you're locked in rhythmically, then each note is harmonizing because they're all in the same scale. So yeah, and it could be a kind of a fun thing to do. So now from there, I would say just playing eighth note lines and then triplet lines in any way you want to. You don't have to play a full measure of eighth notes and a full measure of triplets. This is going to start mimicking more of like an improvisation. So let me just kind of show you. This will be kind of, this will be more of just an example. So just take a look at this, have a listen here. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that just kind of gives you an idea on just some of the different approaches, starting with a very basic approach, just one note, feeling those triplets and eighth notes, then taking it to the scale, just moving up and down the scale, then starting to improvise a little bit, and then intentionally choosing eighth notes or triplets whenever you feel like it. And that's ultimately the goal of these exercises when you're moving back and forth. Is if I'm jamming and I'm playing eighth notes and I'm really getting into some stuff and I can feel the intensity of the band or even just an intensity within myself that I want to grow and extend, and a lot of times go to the next fastest rhythmic value, triplets is going to keep that intensity growing. And then, or maybe you're intense for a while with some triplet stuff and you want to kind of relax and come down. Triplet. That wasn't very good. Let me try it with the metronome here. So if I'm going triplet. It's a great way to end your solo, just coming down rhythmically. I went triplets, eighth notes, quarter note, ending on the chord there. So hopefully this helps you out, and I appreciate you guys watching and subscribing and all that. Again, hit me up with any questions or comments or anything like that. I always enjoy reading the comments and seeing people that are engaged. It's nice. So anyway, peace out.